This area here, which is on the other side of our beautiful driveway. You see our driveway. It's gravel, brick, whatever we find to put in it. Walking under here, under a sassafras grove, into the coolness of the forest. In this forest, we've been having our goats begin the process of clearing some of the invasive underbrush, and then we'll go through the process of clearing it and allowing certain trees to really be able to reach their potential, and creating spaces underneath it for beneficial plants to grow, and so that this space can be kept in a healthier way than it currently is. We've got all kinds of beautiful trees in here, and over the years this is going to look very, very different than it does right now. I'm taking a walk through here.
Show these trees here.
These are the sassafras.
These are old sassafras.
Old sassafras. These guys are big. They've got a very jagged bark. So here we are walking down the hill, just taking a look at this beautiful forest. All the different trees in here. Everything from sumac to walnuts. And the walnut, here's a walnut. Here. The walnut's a very interesting tree because it excretes a substance from all parts of the tree, including, and most significantly through its roots, that only some trees can grow in the presence of this substance. So the walnut actually inhibits the growth of other trees near it. So what you tend to find is black walnut groves. And so there's a number of walnut trees in here which will probably become the dominant tree, and we will allow them to grow to enormous heights. This here is poison ivy, which we don't talk of in a negative way in Armanaso. We talk about it in a positive way. If you brush against it, yes, you will get a rash. Some people more than others. It becomes a beautiful array of colors, from like purple, orange, yellow, red in the fall. And it's a very beautiful vine. It'll grow up anything. And then its actual vine is kind of hairy, so it's easily noted. And we live in harmony with the...
A good friend, and never bites me.
It is a good friend. It's a good friend. It's a protector. It's a powerful plant. There's a nice view of the walnut branch right there. And unfortunately in a video we can't convey the fragrance. We can't convey the fragrance of the walnut because it's such a distinctive smell. Anyone that's worked with the black walnut's going to know what we're talking about here, but it's such a distinctive smell, and it's an awesome plant to use spiritually. We use it in a lot of the baths we make because the walnut's very hard. It's for strength of mind. And here, our friend, the groundhog, dig holes everywhere. The groundhog has a whole burrow here. The groundhog has a whole underground network beneath our feet that we can only imagine how it is under there. It's very extensive. It goes across the whole hillside. And there in the distance, we're coming up to her. That's Venus. So this is our milking goat, Venus. She's a mancha. Those short ears or non-existent ears are normal for her breed. And she's a milking goat. And this girl here has allowed us to stop buying any milk from the store. She gives us as much milk as we need. And she's a really good goat, and she's a really sweet goat, and a very gentle goat. Totally different than the Boer goats with the horns that we also have here. Here is another grove of the locusts, which we always encourage because the hardwood, as I mentioned earlier, plus they fix nice nitrogen in the soil, which of course nitrogen is a fertilizer. So they self-fertilize, they repair the soil, they heal the soil.
Follow to play follow with.
And of course it's a great follow to play follow with because of its density, its power. It's also one of the major bee nectar trees in our area. This tree here is one of the really special trees, and often a tree that you'll find dominating these forests. This is the tulip poplar. This tulip poplar is very old. And you can see the various different habitats right within this tulip poplar where different animals live. The woodpecker loves them. But what a magnificent tree. It's important to know, as baleros, as anyone involved in working with spirit, it's important to know the giants of your forests, the native giants of your forest. And this tulip poplar is one of them. These trees can grow far, far bigger than this one. But with the kind of logging that's gone on here in the past and so on, a lot of these trees have never been able to reach their true potential. So even though what you see around you is a beautiful lush forest, this forest is actually a forest that's repairing itself because it takes many hundred years for the forest to repair itself. So we're just taking this walk here so you can see the kind of forest that we're working with here. You can see the richness of it, the beauty of it, and the abundance of it, the diversity of it. There's more plants here than I could tell you. And there's so many. Seems like every year another plant speaks to us in a different way or shows its face in a stronger way. Here is a path leading up to a field that we will be transforming by planting trees and creating spaces where the animals that we need can be in a more forested environment without them destroying the forest. Because anyone knows who's ever kept goats in particular, and sheep, or horses, or cattle to a lesser extent, but goats in particular, they will kill any tree that's in their field because they chew the bark off it. So we know that animals can have a devastating effect on the environment they're in, domesticated animals. But there's also ways to have them and have them in a healthy environment in a way that they're contributing to the healing of that environment rather than to the destruction of that environment. And that's something that human beings are going to have to embrace in order that human beings don't devastate every place on the earth in ways that we all can see. We're walking out here, approximately walking north into another.
We enjoy every day of our lives here. It brings us a lot of joy. We're able to work. We're able to do anything that is possible for us to do here.
It's a treasure. It's where we see our true blessings stem from the earth under our feet. And here's a field here that, again, this is one big hay field right now, which is what we're going to transform into, yes, pasture for our sheep, for our goats, but also forest.
And on this side, we're all the way down there at the end of our line.
Our line goes all the way down here. It actually dips into that forest there, and then you can follow it all the way up. And then on the far side of that field, it continues for several more acres into that forest. And that forest up there is a very interesting forest filled with locusts, but it needs a lot of help. There's our friend the vulture again. So this is the field here. This is our north-facing field.
Here's where we do our thing.
This is where we do our thing.
Congo Taino.
Palo Congo Taino, and the ancestors have
Blessed
us with some important caretaking and also a process of raising consciousness and reconnecting once again with the plants, the spirits, the natural spirits, the Simbi.
And here's where we also know Somo no Somo.
Somo.
Because here's where we know where el misterio se llama como quiera, se mete por donde quiera y hace lo que quiera. Here's where we realize these things. There's so much to realize, especially when you in here, when you in the Nfinda, and you really, so as I was saying, here's where we really realize. Actually, we also realize who we are internally, because all of this, the Nfinda teaches us about ourselves. Because without the knowledge of ourselves, there's no knowledge about these trees, there's no knowledge about these plants, there's no knowledge about this herb, this entoto that we use every day of our lives. So these things are really, really important, because here's what we say. Again, somo no somo. Are we playing? Are we making believe? Or are we actually dealing and working with what is real? That are we really working with the Nfinda? Are we really working with our fundamentals, our incisis, our semin? Or are we playing with fantasy?
Are we doing enactments, or are we really talking and working and moving and dancing with spirit that responds to us and that continues to show its face ever more clearly?
Yeah. Like you asked me a question. You asked me under what authority I do what I do. Hey, soy un engandulero, yo soy palero, yo soy taíno, y me meto por donde quiera y salgo por donde quiera. This is my authority. The spirit that walks behind me, the spirit that walks in front of me and beside me, that's my authority.
And the taste is in the pudding. Results, as any good palero, as any good taíno knows, the results speak for the process utilized by the brujo or by the bruja. The results speak volumes. And so we love to come and walk out here, to be with the spirit out here, and to see the evolution from year to year. And once in a while we'll look back at an old photograph of maybe some of the spaces that we're walking in right now and just see the transformation that's taking place. And the response by the different animals and everything around here is amazing. You know, because if we were to take a drive around in this area, this is not what you're going to see. Because every little bit of land is either turned into lawns and houses, or it's being used, or especially around here, for farming and for farming monocultures. It's a painful process when we go out at about a few weeks earlier than this, and everything should be green, and we see whole huge fields brown. And why are they brown and dead? Because the farmers out there spraying to kill every living thing on top of and below and in that soil, so they can plant their corn and just have straight corn.
Yeah, it's important. It's important for us to appreciate the entorto, to appreciate the earth, to appreciate the mother. It's really, really important, because we want to be able to live with her in harmony. Because the more harmony we could find inside of ourselves to work with us, the more that she gives, the more secrets she reveals to us, so that we can continue to thrive. You know, we don't have to go into a grocery store to do a ceremony and buy a can of corn. You know, we could grow our corn.
Yeah, we haven't bought corn for the spirit, and we can't even remember how long. We have all this beautiful corn that you can't even buy. grown right
or
here.
tobacco or sage.
Tobacco, sage, yeah.
You know, none of these things. Like we said, look, we stopped buying milk.
Yep, thanks to Venus over there.
You know, and a lot of us know how important goat milk is.
Yeah, yep, and then in terms of being able to drink raw milk, which again around here you can't go out and buy raw milk.
Yeah, and we want to take you over here so we could take you to the magical garden and Yaji will display what the magical garden is.